Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm back in front of the camera. I feel like it's been forever since I actually just sat in front of the camera and did my videos. So, I mean, I've done the lives in front of the camera, but I used to do all mine, just kind of sitting here and talking, and I started just doing like the voiceover, so I figured, hey, let's get in front of the camera tonight. Okay, so this is just a new update on Chad and Lori. Seems like there's a new update every day now, so I wish soon, I hope we hear the update that the kids are found alive. How awesome would that be? Or at least Lori is in custody or is being interrogated. But actually, she could be in custody. Well, I don't know if she would be in custody because she could be interrogated by now, don't you think? And maybe we just haven't heard anything? No, probably not, though, because that East Idaho News crew, they've been on top of it. So I guess they're probably just waiting for however long that court processes take. I mean, they had that court order and now they probably have to wait so long. So, but I just wish they would bring them in for questioning, and like just get some answers, see what they have to say. But I guess they could, the way Lori's been acting, I guess if they bring them in, they're allowed to remain silent, so they could bring them in and she could have a lawyer and they have the right to remain silent. So that's what she's been doing, actually. So never mind. I don't think that would help, actually. They can't make her talk if she doesn't want to. So as I'm giving this update, I might throw in some of the just facts about the case because, some people that maybe haven't been following it as closely or haven't been following it at all. So as I kind of go through it, I might say things you guys already know, but it just helps some people, I feel like. Okay, so Lori and Chad allegedly left their Idaho home shortly after police performed the wellness check. Charles Vallow's parents were starting to get concerned because they hadn't talked to JJ since the end of September, so they asked for a wellness check. So the police went in November 26th, wellness check. Lori and Chad basically lied about their whereabouts, and so the authorities went back and got a warrant for the home and for the storage unit and come back on the November 27th, and they're gone. So we believe that that's when they fled to Hawaii, okay? So, and that they've been there ever since. So it does appear that they probably still are there. There's a picture of their home. Their condo, which looks nice, looks expensive, because we know Hawaii is expensive, period. It don't even matter if you have a small little apartment, but that's a nice gated community condo. That's got to be expensive. And somebody brought up the point that, yeah, they probably did get some kind of insurance money from Tammy's death, right? And then who knows as far as from her two husbands' deaths. I know somebody said that 2 weeks before Charles died that he made his sister the beneficiary, but I still think JJ being his son has some kind of survivor benefit somebody mentioned or something where he could get a check, but I don't know. I'm not sure about that. But probably for sure Tammy, right? Tammy's death. The police said that the cell phone belonging to Lori's daughter, Tylee, has been found with her mother in Hawaii. So that doesn't look good. They found Tylee's cell phone without Tylee, but with Lori. Just see every new thing we learn. It's just making me have more doubt that they're okay. According to reports, Tylee Ryan was present at the Arizona home at the time Charles Vallow was shot in July by Lori's brother, Alex Cox. And Randy, I know he wants to talk about this theory he has, which has something to do with that. So I want to tell you guys because it's a pretty good theory he has, but I'll let him be the one to tell you. I think he's going to come on. Either I'll be with him or at least have a virtual live where he could come on and tell his theory. And it has something to do with Tylee being present when Charles was shot. So allegedly, a friend of Tylee's said that she sent a text to Tylee's phone on October 19th. So that was weeks after Tylee was last seen, and said that she missed Tylee and was thinking of her. So almost a week later, On October 25th, the friend received a reply from Tylee's phone, which read, "Hi, miss you guys too, love ya." But she wasn't certain that Tylee sent that message herself, because she said it didn't seem like a message she would send. She said she spelled out her words, which was not like her, and plus she would have texted more if she had reached out. So she said, her friend reached out, she would have texted way more than just that short sentence. Plus, she must use way more abbreviations than what that text was. So it just wasn't the way she texts. The friend lives in Chandler, Arizona, and said that Tylee moved to Rexburg with her brother and mother sometime after August 31st. So in July was when Charles was shot, Lori's ex-husband, and JJ's father. So July, he was shot by Lori's brother, Alex. And then Alex dies in December 2019 of unknown causes. Authorities still haven't released the details on that. So it'll be very interesting to see the details on that autopsy and Tammy's autopsy. And like I said before, Alex died a day after they exhumed Tammy's body to be re-examined, and then Alex dies the day after. Unknown causes. I mean, something's just not right, and I guess that's why the cops and the FBI are all looking into it. So I'm sure they're working every day as we are discussing this case. They're doing their thing, and it's only a matter of time. And the thing that I'm afraid of is, and they know that, Lori and Chad probably know, it's only a matter of time they're going to arrest them, or they're going to get them in custody, because if they can't show the kids, it's just only a matter of time that if they can't produce the kids, that they are going to be arrested. So I think they know that, and I'm afraid that they will do something extreme, like take their own lives, and then we'll never have any answers. And especially because they are so extreme, thinking that the end of the world is going to be July 2020. So I don't think they would have a problem taking their own lives, And then we'll never have any answers. So that's why, hopefully, that there's surveillance, and that they're being watched. But they can only watch so much. They could still figure out a way to take their own lives being watched, probably. So the friend said that Tylee did not want to move to Idaho, but decided to because she didn't want to leave JJ. So that makes me wonder, why didn't she want to leave? Why didn't she want to move with her mom? And why did she make sure, she went because she didn't want to leave JJ? Because was she worried about JJ? Like his safety, do you think? So she's like, I don't want to leave JJ with my mom. Like, she's worried my mom and Chad. She was kind of worried, so she went with them. So another thing that just came out is Joseph Ryan's sister, Annie Cushing, speaks out about her niece, Tylee Ryan, for the first time. So Annie said the last time she saw Tylee was after Joseph Ryan's death in 2018. Annie said her brother and Lori were madly in love at first, and that she had never seen Joseph that happy before, because he was just so happy, when they first met, and they were just madly in love, and she just never seen her brother that happy, because he had never been married before. That was his first marriage. He had never had children before, so Tylee was his first child. So he was ecstatic, I guess, Annie said, his sister. He was just so happy. So Tylee was Joseph's first child, but Tylee was Lori's second child, because Lori had Colby, which I was mistaken, because I thought Colby was Joseph's child. I didn't realize that Colby was actually from her previous marriage. So Joseph was just so happy, his first child, Tylee. So they divorced 4 years later in 2004 after the relationship turned bad, and Joseph had a difficult and at times violent temperament. Tylee was only 18 months when they divorced. Joseph and Lori had lived in Texas when they were married, but after she married Charles, she moved to Arizona. And Joseph actually moved to Arizona too after, because he wanted to be closer to Tylee. Court documents show that the couple had a long, difficult custody battle over Tylee. Annie said her and Lori remained friends, and that Lori felt a lot like a sister. She said they didn't speak often, but they would send each other pictures of each other's children. So Annie said that it wasn't until her brother's death in late March 2018 that she noticed a drastic change in Lori. Joseph died of an apparent heart attack, and his body wasn't discovered till over a week. Over a week. I mean, are you kidding me? How sad is that? That nobody even missed him for over a week. It's just sad. But, and the only reason they did end up finding him is because a neighbor's dog detected a strange smell. And Annie said she didn't even know about her brother's death until no one claimed his body for 5 weeks. And then the officials ran a background check and called her brother. And she wouldn't have found out. That's the only reason that she found out, because Lori never told her. She didn't tell anybody. She didn't contact any of his family. And she was aware of his passing, but didn't bother to tell his family. And Annie also said that Lori acted very casual about Joseph's death. But Annie decided to put her personal feelings aside and fly out to Arizona to support Tylee and hope to connect with her too. But Annie said she was really surprised when she got there because everybody was acting like nothing happened. People were hardly even talking about Joseph. And then when Lori actually did talk about Joseph, she would say things like, oh, the world's a better place without Joseph Ryan. I mean, this is her brother she's talking about. He just passed away suddenly, and you're going to sit there and say the world's a better place without Joseph Ryan, like her brother. I mean, and then Tylee's dad, that's just messed up. This girl, Lori I believe, probably is a sociopath or a psychopath or something. She's just not right in her head. Like, it's like she has no concern for anybody's feelings. It's all about her. She's very selfish. Okay, so Lori also discouraged Tylee from mourning her father's death. How unhealthy is that? Your own child, your own daughter, you discourage her from mourning her own father's death. You should be encouraging her and helping her. Even whatever bad blood you have between, her and him, that should just go out the window as far as being there to support your daughter when her dad just died. I don't care, how much you hate him. That's what you do. It just shows you how selfish she is. She can't put her own feelings aside and her own hatred and anger toward her father, Joseph, aside and help her daughter mourn. And, even if she wants to talk about her dad or remember the good times, even if Lori hates him that much, at least just do that for your daughter. She could just help support her, It just really shows a lot about her character. Lori's character. And Annie said she also noticed a lot of tension between Lori and Tylee. So remember, this is March 2018. So this is, over a year before Charles Vallow got shot. Lori didn't allow Annie and Tylee to spend much time together alone. And that makes you wonder, was Lori worried about something Tylee would have said to Annie? Or was it just jealousy because she didn't want them to get close so she could have complete control over Tylee? And then Annie sent several texts to her daughter during and shortly after her visit saying, I just couldn't wait to get out of there. The place was so dark. Annie said it's like she wanted me to be afraid of the end times. There was one time where she was talking about it and she says, sometimes I think it would be better just to put my kids in a car and go off the side of a cliff. Like, who says that? Annie said it was exhausting dealing with all the lies, even with the little things. Which, she's lying about even the little things. She's probably a freaking pathological liar, just somebody has to lie about the little things that have no purpose. Sometimes people lie and there's a reason because it doesn't make it better. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying if there's some kind of motive in lying. But she's not only lying about the big things, it sounds like, but even just lying about little stupid things that have no point, but she's just a freaking liar. And he says, I think she's unhinged and untethered from the truth. And he said, that's what makes me feel like Lori is a sociopath. Because to her, it was all a game. She had no empathy for the suffering that anyone else was experiencing. She could care less. She didn't care about Tylee suffering, about Annie suffering, about anybody suffering. She had no empathy at all. So Annie said she decided to cut ties with Lori. And I guess Annie and her daughter called Lori Lolo. So Annie says in a text to Lolo, she says, I left exhausted from the constant campaigning against Joseph and Lolo's out-of-control ego. But I feel trapped. I connected with Tylee, but don't want anything to do with Lolo ever again. So there are some interesting things in the court documents from August 2007 of Tylee's custody battle between Lori and Joseph. The court ordered psychological evaluation for Lori after she told the social workers that death would be an option before giving Tylee to her father Joseph, even for a visit. Are you kidding me? So yeah, these social workers saw like, whoa, this lady needs an evaluation because she's not thinking right. So Annie also is really concerned because she doesn't know when Tylee was last seen because she was homeschooled. So nobody knows when Tylee was last seen. We know JJ was last seen because he was at school and his grandparents seen him on FaceTime or whatever they use. So they know when he was last seen, but nobody knows when Tylee was last seen. So if any of you guys have any information about this case, contact Rexburg Police Department 208-359-3000. And even if you think it's something little or stupid or not important, you never know, it might be. And you just, if you know anything, any little detail, just call it and let it, they'll decide if it's important or not. So I do want to read you, hold on a second. I want to read you some of this text so this is some of the text that Annie wrote to her daughter when she was visiting with Lori right after Joseph's death and a little, also right after she was visiting with her. So the first one is, Lola was crazy. I saw a dark side of her when I was there that makes me question some of her claims. This one's kind of cut off, but it says, but I think she was much more a victim of a really nasty war between the two of them. And Lola will win at any cost. So I think they're probably talking about Tylee was the victim of a really nasty war between Lola and Lori and Joseph. That's what that one sounds like. And then another one, it says, I regret going down there. She may be a sociopath. Way more. That's what makes me feel Lori was a sociopath. To her, this was all a game. She had no empathy for the suffering anyone else was experiencing, including Tylee. Okay, so some of this court document, let's read it. It says, if I could read it, it's a little blurry. Okay, so this is the interview and observations. This is the court document with the custody battle between Lori and Joseph over Tylee. Okay, so it says, Mrs. Vallow had been scheduled for a psychological evaluation relative to an unrelated custody matter concerning the two sons of her current husband, Leland Charles Anthony Vallow. She had originally been scheduled for July 30th, but notified me on the 27th of July that her sister had given birth to an infant with medical complications in another state, and she was going to leave town to be with her. She changed her appointment for evaluation at that point to October 4th. The foregoing concerns about her being a flight risk apparently were voiced in a subsequent court hearing, on the basis of which I contacted Mrs. Vallow on the 31st of July and moved her appointment up to August the 1st to accommodate a cancellation in my schedule. She did appear for her session early. Mrs. Vallow is an attractive woman. Why would that even be an evaluation? I don't know. But relatively tall, a slender build with blonde hair. She was conventionally and tastefully attired and well-groomed. Mrs. Vallow was cheerful, energetic, pleasant, and cooperative here. She appeared forthcoming, responsive, and informative during the interview. No undue defensiveness was noted. No disturbances in the thought content, mood, or emotional expressions were observed or reported. Deeply concerned and consider the situation to one labeled as imminent danger of a flight risk. As well, Mrs. Vallow is a devout Mormon who has mentioned to me that death would be an option before giving Tylee to her father, Mr. Joseph Ryan, even for a visit. These are real and serious concerns. Some new updates have came out since I recorded this video last night, so I'm just going to add them in here. Okay, crazy things every day. This lady is freaking crazy. She had a pool party. Neighbors reported a pool party occurring at her house with loud songs and a bunch of people swimming and having fun the same day that her husband was shot by her brother. Can you believe that? And then a few weeks after that, Lori attempted to sell JJ's therapy dog, Bailey. I guess Charles invested thousands of dollars on JJ's dog, which was trained to help JJ because he's autistic. So Bailey was a Labradoodle. He was JJ's best friend, and he was a very important part of JJ's life. And she tried to put it up for sale for $2,500. Okay, so instead of returning it to the instructor like she was supposed to, but luckily the instructor saw the listing and informed Lori she had to give it back to the rescue team. So they'll actually take back the dog and rehome him to another special needs boy. But she told the instructor that a tragedy occurred and had to relocate up north to Idaho. And another thing that I just found out in one of the articles, it said that Chad Daybell rejected to buy a post-mortem examination. So the coroner concluded Tammy's fatality as natural causes. But now they think there may have been foul play. So we know that because they exhumed the body and they're doing an examination. So they think, some people are thinking maybe she was poisoned. So we'll find that out eventually. Okay, so another person speaks out. Her name's Cheryl Wheeler, and she's Charles Vallow's ex-wife. She talks about how great of a husband Charles was, how great of a father he was. She said her and Charles were married for 12 years. They had 2 sons. The boys adored their father. Charles was nicknamed the Disneyland Dad because he was so much fun. He would take them camping and fishing, and they did Boy Scouts together. And he was just always so supportive in all their activities, Cheryl said. But Cheryl and Charles ended up divorcing in 2003. They both remarried in 2006, and Charles remarried Lori. But anyway, she goes on to say how Charles was raised Catholic, but he converted to the Church of Latter-day Saints after meeting Lori. A year after Charles and Lori got married, Cheryl became concerned about Lori's mental state. Cheryl said she just seemed off. There were a lot of strange things going on in their home. A judge even ordered cameras to be put in their home to protect the children. Cheryl said Lori seemed to enjoy being in court and all the drama surrounding it. She doesn't do what she's told to do. She does only what she wants. Yep, sounds like a sociopath to me, or a psychopath. Something is not right with this woman. That's all I know. Cheryl says that Charles was a semi-pro baseball player, so if he hit Alex in the head with a bat, he would be dead. She said Charles was not a violent person. She said her and Charles were married and divorced, and not one time, not 1 second was he ever physically threatening to me. There were no police records of any domestic violence caused between him and Lori. So to say it was self-defense because he was violent is just not who he was, she says. Also, Cheryl says that Alex waited 5 minutes to call the police after he shot Charles. And then Lori didn't schedule any funeral services. Nothing, Cheryl says. So the Vallow family put together a memorial, and JJ's grandparents, Charles's parents, begged Lori to have JJ there, but she refused to let him go to his own dad's funeral. She wouldn't even let him go. Cheryl believes that Charles's death was 100% planned. Charles told people that if something happened to him, Lori was behind it. Cheryl and her family want everyone to know that Charles was a good, kind man who got tied up with an evil woman. That's pretty crazy stuff. So I just wanted to give you guys that update, and I'm going to be doing a live here coming up to discuss this case. I know Randy wanted to give his theory on what he thinks is going on, which it makes sense. So hopefully, I don't know, sometime this week or this weekend we'll do a live. And I know that Melanie, I don't know, there's a couple people that wanted to come on and discuss this case too. So I'll let you guys know. But if anybody wants to, send me your email. If you want to send me your email ahead of time, and then I could tell you exactly, when I know when we're going to come on, when we're going to do the live, and then you'll know, just email me. And then when we do the live, I could send you an invite and you could come on to discuss it. All right, guys. Well, thank you and have a good night, okay? Bye.